Good morning. This is the time and place for the Planning Hearing Officer hearing for December 16th, 2020. My name is Roger Kiesel, and I'll be conducting the hearing as the hearing officer. Due to COVID-19 novel coronavirus and health regulations or recommendations from the LA County Health Department, this hearing is being conducted public virtually with no members of the public present. The public is encouraged to watch and participate from the safety of their homes to practice social distancing. The meeting can be viewed on local cable TV and is being streamlined online at the city's website at www.glendaleca.gov. For public comments and questions during the meeting, please call 818-937-8100. Again, that's 818-937-8100. City staff will be submitting the questions and comments in real time to the appropriate person. We have one case involving discretionary permit applications this morning. The hearing will proceed as follows. I will read the description of the application or request. Then I will read the reports received from other city departments and other letters or communications from interested parties. The case planner will then make a brief presentation of the case, giving analysis and making a recommendation. The applicant will then be connected in by telephone, stating both their name and address, and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time period. Others in support of or in opposition to the application and interested parties will be connected by telephone to give comments, again clearly stating both their name and address within a 3-minute time period. Finally, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments, if desired, in response to testimonies given by preceding speakers within a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will then be closed and taken under submission. Findings. If the findings presented in the application and at the hearing meet the required findings set forth in the municipal code, then the project can either be approved or approved with conditions. If the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. Decision. After the hearing, the decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or by submitting written responses and have provided their name and mailing address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. Records of decision for all projects will be posted online on the Planning Division's website. Appeals. Under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.62 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of the decision. Anyone wishing to appeal must contact the case planner to obtain forms and information regarding the appeal process and submittal. Notice. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners located within 500 feet of the subject property, physically posted on the site in question, and placed in the local newspaper. I would like to inform everyone that the official proceedings of the Planning Hearing Officer's hearing are being televised live and may be viewed online on the city's website. As I mentioned before, we have one case today. That case is located at 1127 North Pacific Avenue. It's a standards variance, PVAR 2015878. The project is an application for a standards variance to allow the addition of a 97 square foot atrium with a zero street front setback, where a 5-foot street front setback is required. The existing building is 1,752 square feet, and it is a dental office located in the C1 neighborhood commercial zone. First, I'd like to see whether there were any comments from other departments regarding the case? There were no comments from either engineering or traffic and transportation. Water and power. Looks like all of their comments were standard comments. And then building and safety also had just standard comments. So at this point, I'd like to ask the case planner, Minji Ham, to do an overview of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiesel. My name is Minji Ham, and I'm the case planner for this project. The project site is an approximately 6,030 square foot interior lot that was developed in 2002 with a 1,752 square foot one-story commercial building with surface parking at the rear. The existing dental office has been operating at this
Give us a second, we're having a little technical problem.
Sorry about that. So the project site is an approximately 6,030 square foot interior lot in red that was developed in 2002 with a 1,752 square foot one-story commercial building with surface parking at the rear. The existing dental office has been operating at this location since 2011. As you'll see on the existing site plan, the existing building's footprint occupies a majority of the front portion of the lot and is set back 5 feet from the property line along North Pacific Avenue. The building features an existing 4-foot wide ADA ramp that runs parallel to the sidewalk and is concealed behind a short wall. The ADA ramp provides access to the uncovered front entry landing and access into the building. Also, the entire rear portion of the lot behind the existing building is dedicated for 7 parking spaces. The parking lot is legally non-conforming with substandard parking stall depth at 15 feet and has 0 parking lot landscaping. This is the existing floor plan. The uncovered landing in the red box is proposed to be enclosed and constructed as a new 97 square foot atrium and is located within the required 5-foot street front setback. The landing currently extends up to the street front property line, or 0 street front setback, as you'll see in the pictures to the right. The purpose of the addition is to accommodate for a new atrium, which would serve as additional waiting room space with social distancing measures of 6 feet between individuals in place. In order to comply with the ordinance and provide the required street front setback of 5 feet, the applicant would have to locate the atrium elsewhere on the property, such as within the existing building or the rear portion of the building. However, locating the addition elsewhere on property would require modifications to the existing legal non-conforming parking lot at the rear, which would impose hardship onto the owner. The entire rear portion of the lot, as mentioned already, is occupied by the existing legal non-conforming parking lot with 7 parking spaces, and there are limited areas to accommodate the minor atrium addition. It would defeat the purpose of having such space at the rear of the building when patients actually enter the dental office from the front entrance. In addition, there is a covenant agreement recorded between the previous property owners and the City of Glendale in 2000, which states that the 5 parking spaces at the rear are to be maintained in connection with the use of the building on subject property. So access to these 5 spaces that are in the red box and located closer to the southern property line, and the 2 tandem spaces closer to the alley and the northern property line can be jeopardized if the atrium addition is to be constructed at the rear of the building. Furthermore, the existing floor plan of the dental office constricts the applicant from using existing spaces within the building for the new atrium without substantially changing the office operations. As each space has its dedicated use and purpose that appropriately served many patients over the years, such as the treatment areas and all the administrative areas and the bathroom. Altering the existing floor plan of the building to create a bigger waiting room would impose additional hardships onto the owner, such as affecting the number of patients who could be served at a given time, or affecting the day-to-day operations and also the employees who work at the office. Preventing the enclosure of an area that is already located in the street front setback is unreasonable because it restricts the applicant from improving the existing building with additional space for a patient waiting room with social distancing measures, which is a necessity in current protocol regarding the ongoing pandemic. Taking the property and building layout into consideration, the proposed location in blue is the most appropriate for the subject property and building as it minimizes altering the existing building, maintains the existing parking conditions, and also mimics the existing streetscape of North Pacific Avenue, which features commercial buildings and storefronts with 0 street front setback. These are the existing elevations. You'll notice that only the east, north, and south elevations would be affected by the proposed construction, as the addition is proposed at the front at the east elevation. And as you'll see on the proposed elevations, the proposed atrium will not change the street-facing facade, the east elevation, drastically, as the building already had the appearance of having 0 street front setback due to the ADA ramp and the uncovered landing that was already located at the front. The project was already reviewed by the city's design staff, and this project would be exempt from design review. In addition, the new atrium will not affect the existing legal non-conforming parking lot at the rear. The addition at the front would be consistent with the development pattern in the immediate neighborhood, particularly the southern parcels of North Pacific Avenue that feature a prevailing street front setback of 0 foot. And this is a picture that we grabbed from Google Images, and for further, more applicable photos, we'll be asking these applicant to provide more as needed. You'll see that the subject building is actually slightly setback than the other neighboring buildings. The overall purpose of setback requirements is to assure that an effective separation is provided between properties and provide for landscaped areas in the living and working environments for visual relief. Given the manner in which the immediate area has been developed, North Pacific Avenue does not function nor provide benefits of typical street front landscaping. The only landscaping that actually exists is in that little corner right in front of the subject building. The proposed street front setback for the dental office building is similar to other businesses on the street, in that those businesses also feature 0 street front setbacks. And if you see in this picture, you'll see a satellite photo of the buildings and also a image of the property lines. You'll see that 1127 is actually slightly away from the property line than compared to the neighboring buildings. The proposed 0 street front setback for the dental office is similar to other businesses, and the variance request gives the applicant a reasonable opportunity to improve the existing buildings similar to other commercial buildings in the immediate vicinity. In regards to parking, the new addition would not require the existing legal non-conforming parking lot with the 7 spaces at the rear to be modified. For the zoning code, dental offices with patient visitation require 5 spaces per every 1,000 square foot of parking area. The 97 square foot addition does not require any parking spaces due to the resulting parking calculation of 0.485. Since the parking calculation is less than 0.5, which is the number at which a parking space would be rounded up to 1 full parking space, the new atrium can be provided without affecting the existing parking lot and its legal nonconformities. The existing parking lot and its 7 spaces will continue to adequately serve the dental office without issue. And staff was able to make all required findings of fact for the standards variance based on the history of the establishment and information provided by the applicant and the owners. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the variance with the attached conditions of approval. That concludes staff's report. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, thank you. I have a list of questions, and I just, one is most appropriately directed toward you, and I think I heard you say that this addition has already been reviewed from a design perspective?
Correct.
Okay, so thank you. Let me see if there's anything else. No, I think the other questions are better directed toward the applicant.
Okay. We do have the applicant on the line.
Okay, great. I think we're ready to begin the public hearing. Yeah.
Okay.
Is the caller around?
Yes. So this is the applicant, Sona Sarukian.
Ms. Sarukian, hi. This is Roger Kiesel, the planning hearing officer. Can you introduce yourself and then make a brief presentation and go over the standard variance findings?
Yes, of course. My name is Sona Sarukian. I want to say hello to everybody present. Thank you to the staff for being here, and I want to say thank you so much to Minji for the presentation.
Thanks. You can proceed with your presentation. Just give us a brief overview of the project, and then if you can go over the 4 findings of the variance and state how, in your opinion, the project complies with them, that would be helpful. And then I've got some questions for you.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you. A brief overview of the project, aside from Minji's presentation. This existing dental office, before coronavirus or COVID hit, during the day would treat from 4 to 5 people per hour. And because of the pandemic, they're currently allowing 2 patients in the waiting room. So this would be able to add 2 more patients. This basically enclosure of the existing exterior landing, which is the scope, the 97 square foot glass atrium, which is the encapsulating the existing landing for the ADA ramp. And in doing that, would be able to accommodate 2 more patients as a screening space to bring the operations back to normal. Aside from that, I guess I can move on to the 4 findings. Finding A, which states the strict application of provisions of any such ordinance would result in practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship inconsistent with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance. If you can give me 1 second.
Sure.
Adding to what Minji stated about the existing conditions, the rear of the lot is a non-conforming parking lot, so adding anything in the rear would pretty much add extra hardship and wouldn't conform at all with the parking, would probably lose parking space. So considering the existing conditions, the most appropriate areas for this screening space to accommodate more patients would be in the existing landing, which is in the front. And considering the setbacks, the prevailing setbacks, I believe it's an appropriate location for that reason as well. Moving on to item B, it states there are exceptional circumstances or conditions applicable to the property involved or to the intended use or development of the property that do not apply generally to other property in the same zone or neighborhood.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They kind of graze over the same issues with the existing site. Item B as well, considering that there is an alley and then the existing parking lot in the rear, there isn't really any other ideal area for this screening space addition. Moving on to item C, the granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare or injurious to the property or improvements in such zone or neighborhood in which the property is located. Again, the granting of this variance will not be materially detrimental to the public welfare. I believe it might be the opposite, because the proposal is a glass atrium in that it reflects. I believe reflective material is a great addition to a commercial zone. In this specific case, Pacific, where there's a lot of foot traffic, and I believe the reflective material in comparison to the existing stucco would have like an interactive effect with the public walking. Moving on to the last item D, it states the granting of the variance will not be contrary to the objectives of the ordinance. The granting of the variance will not be contrary to the objectives because the overall purpose of setback requirements is to assure that effective separation is provided between properties or provided for landscape areas in the living and working environment. And in this case, there is existing landscape on the other side, which we are keeping. So, and we are not going towards the setback that is next to the alley. And we are, the existing setback is far behind the front setback, which the adjacent properties are basically almost built straight onto the property. So it's kind of like a nice, fresh area where it's set back a little more. And the little glass atrium addition, 97 square feet, which is about 8 feet wide, will not really be encroaching on the front setback that bad. And that concludes all 4 items of the findings.
Great. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I would like to kind of hear other feedback and just, I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Minji, do we have any callers or other people on the line?
No, we don't have any callers.
Okay, so,
Do you have any?
hello?
Yes, sorry.
Is there someone else on the line with you?
No, I have the video on the computer and there's a little playback
Oh, got
lag,
it.
so I'm trying to close that.
Okay, thank you. We were a little confused. All right, I've got several questions for you, and then please answer them to the best of your ability, and then we can conclude.
Okay, sounds good.
So, first question is, what are you proposing to do with the addition? What's the purpose?
We're proposing to use it as a patient screening space.
Okay. And how many patients will you be able to screen at a time as a result of the addition?
Because of the distance requirement, we believe we can fit about 2 patients max.
Okay. Now, why don't you walk me through pre-COVID, if I was a customer, how would I had an appointment or not had an appointment, if I was a customer, how would I receive treatment at the facility?
So if we're pre-COVID, which seems so far long ago, you would enter with the ramp, and in the waiting room during the day, they would be able to treat 4 to 5 people per hour. So the waiting room has chairs and areas for people to sit.
Okay.
And that's basically how it was before Corona.
Okay. So I came in with an appointment at 9, and I came in at 8:45, and I would check in and just sit in the waiting room until you all called me and were ready for me.
Exactly.
Okay. So how has this changed? How has the situation changed now with COVID and without the atrium? So in the presently, if I were to come in for an appointment, what things would change for me and you?
Presently, if you found yourself, let's say you didn't get an appointment and you were trying to walk in, they wouldn't be able to have more than 2 people in that waiting area as compared to the 4 or 5 people. So you would most likely have to come back or get an appointment. So if this enclosure that we're proposing for that existing landing area would be like a threshold area for more people to be able to wait and bring it back to normal, or how it was during the normal operations, where if you were a walk-in, let's say, you would be able to wait there.
Okay, I think you sort of answered my next question, but say for instance, in the present situation, I had an appointment at 9. I arrived at your office at 8:45. What would happen to me then if I had an appointment?
I'm assuming if you have an appointment, they would be ready for you to just be treated. Or have room to wait in the waiting room.
Okay. Okay. And then, so basically, I mean, I think you answered my next question in that the atrium, what you're hoping to do with the atrium is be able to accommodate the amount of people that you would normally be able to accommodate in the waiting room under normal circumstances.
Yes, ideally.
Ideally, okay. Now, another question, because only part of the 97 square foot addition is encroaching into the setback, and it looks like it's roughly about 1/3 to 40% of the let's just say 100 square foot area. It's almost 100 square feet. It's 97 square feet.
Yeah.
Of the 100 square foot area, it looks like roughly 30 or 40 square feet actually encroaches into the 5-foot setback. The remainder of the proposed atrium doesn't. If you were just to line up the atrium with the existing building and outside of the 5-foot setback, how many people would you be able to accommodate then?
If we went with that design approach, which we also tried,
You looked at that?
excuse me?
I'm sorry, you looked into that.
Yes,
Okay.
that would basically accommodate one because of the ADA door clearances.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm writing some stuff down and then I'll go on with my questions. Let's see. How many patients can you accommodate at one time in the office? So I think you said the office typically accommodates 4 to 5 clients per hour.
Yes.
And how many, can you still do that under the current circumstances?
I'm not sure about those specific. I believe 4 patients.
So you still can treat 4 patients per hour under the current circumstances?
I believe, or unless it's 2, but I'm not quite sure about that one.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let me step back again, just so I'm under normal circumstances. Each treatment room can accommodate 1 person, correct? Or 1 client, 1 patient per hour.
Yes.
Okay. And is there, is there only 1 dental chair per treatment area?
I think so. It could have 2. One of them, I believe, has 2.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is the 4 treatment areas on the floor plan look pretty large for just to accommodate 1 person per room. And I'm wondering whether they're designed currently to treat more than 1 customer per room, needing more than 1 dental chair per treatment area. Because the rooms do look, rather large just to accommodate 1 dental chair.
Yes, I have existing photos
Okay.
of interior, and it does appear that there can be they can accommodate more than 1 chair.
Okay. So are there currently there's currently more than 1 chair in each treatment area?
For right now, because of coronavirus, it cannot be more than 1 person in the area. But before coronavirus, there was about 3 chairs in each room,
Okay.
because there is partition between each chair, so a lot of movable cabinets.
Got it. Okay, so what I'm hearing is there are probably 3 chairs per room, and then you've got interior partitions or other sort of furniture to make
Divide
each
up the space, yeah.
each dental chair sort of more private.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But under the current circumstances, 2 of those 3 dental chairs in each of those rooms is unavailable due to the distancing.
Yes.
Okay. So under normal circumstances, if there are 2 or 3 chairs per treatment room, do you normally treat more than 4 or 5 patients per hour?
It's 4 or 5 patients in the waiting room, so I believe it would be more. Exactly.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is under normal circumstances, there would be more. You would be able to treat more than one customer, more than one patient per treatment room. If the treatment room had three chairs in it, there may be 3 people getting treatment in that treatment area.
Yes.
Okay. So theoretically, you could treat between 8 and 12 customers per hour under normal circumstances at 100% capacity.
Yes.
Okay. Can you provide Minji or email Minji the photos of the interior of the office?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Also, sort of related to that, do you have a more detailed floor plan of the office showing the fixtures, showing the location of the dental chairs, showing the partitions,
no.
that sort of thing?
As of right now, we only have the photos.
Okay, all right. So we'll use that for now. Let's see. I'm looking down my list of questions, sorry. Have you looked at reconfiguring the interior spaces of the office to accommodate a larger and more efficient waiting room?
Yes, we have. This is the final layout.
Okay, so the final layout is very similar to the existing layout with the exception that the atrium is proposed.
Yes.
Okay, is there, so it sounds to me like you went through various thoughts about, how you could, make the office more efficient while not adding square footage. Why did you conclude this was the best way to do it? I mean, it was, could you potentially reduce the size of a treatment area to make the waiting room larger? And if you did that, why did you come to the conclusion that this would not work?
The going back and forth with the client's needs.
Okay.
And trying to regain the normal operation as efficient as possible and as time sensitive as possible. This was the proposed layout we went with for the reason of the least amount of alteration to the existing was the main concern. So the glass atrium in the front, also for the reason of it being an extra threshold, was the reason we went with this plan because of this pandemic, having, let's say, the waiting room extend into the interior of, let's say, a treatment area, this dental office floor plan is in some respect an open floor plan where there is this core in the middle, but there is no real threshold blocking each space. So the glass atrium that's enclosed with two doors will add kind of that extra barrier, safety barrier as well, for a safety precaution, because the open space kind of doesn't really, it defeats the purpose of making like a screening space, because it has to be enclosed. And
okay.
proposing more work inside will stop operations much more than having the work be an exterior.
Okay, that makes sense. You've a couple times mentioned the atrium provides an additional threshold. Can you go into that more? I mean, so it's not just an expansion of the waiting room. What do you mean by it provides another threshold?
Well, threshold in a sense where, for example, in colder climate areas, there is sort of this foyer where you enter into one set of doors into a space that's enclosed, and those doors close and you enter into another area opened by a door. So the space there, the air there can be ventilated differently perhaps. It's just precautionary towards, for climate conditions for other areas, but in the circumstances of our present situation, now it's a pandemic precautionary sort of.
Okay, so it really just serves as a second waiting room.
Yes.
Okay. Let me go over the questions again. Will the ADA ramp need to be modified as a result of the proposed addition to comply with building code? And I guess by that, what I mean, obviously there's an incline with the ADA ramp, and it's hard to tell from the pictures. I'm assuming, although I don't know for sure, that at a certain point that ADA ramp needs to stop inclining and provide like a flat landing area.
Yes.
With the proposed addition, are you going to have to modify the ADA ramp to potentially provide, a flat landing? It's hard to tell where that incline stops on the pictures.
Presently, the ADA ramp will comply with the atrium. But if Minji finds, or if the staff finds that is something that we would have to fix as well along with the atrium, then that's something we might have to do. But presently, per the review, the ramp will comply.
Okay, so if the atrium is installed, it's your opinion that the ADA ramp will continue to comply with building and safety regulations.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. It looks like that there is an area of the site that is in back of the building. It's sort of between the building and where the parking spaces start, and it kind of looks like dead area. What's going on there? And could you provide landscape there, or could the addition go there, or what's going on in that area?
I'm looking at the existing photo of the rear,
Yeah,
where that area is,
yeah,
and it appears it's where they put the trash.
right. I saw that picture. Yeah, I mean, that trash can maybe can go in other places. I mean, it doesn't look like that's the designated trash area. It's that area between, I'm looking at the picture now.
Yes.
It's the area between the handicap parking space and the building. And there looks like there's a ladder that goes up to the roof in that area. But between the parking space and the building, there appears to be, and it's difficult to see how wide it is on the picture, but if you look at the plans, it looks like it's a decent size area, maybe 8 or 9 feet wide and maybe 15 feet long. Is there a reason why the addition can't be accommodated there, and if not, why? And then if it can't be, is it feasible to put some landscape there or something that isn't just kind of open paved area?
I think it would be feasible for landscape area, but we did consider one of the schematics of the atrium or the screening area to be in that area in the back. It just wasn't feasible for the client.
Okay. All right. So currently, you said 2 clients can wait in the existing waiting room based on distancing,
Yes.
and 4 or 5 would be able to under normal circumstances, correct?
Yes.
I think you mentioned both of those. Okay. Have you looked into any temporary solutions to provide for additional patients waiting for treatment? And I'm not sure what those temporary solutions are, but what you're requesting is an addition to an existing building, and you're going through this hearing because it doesn't comply with our codes, and that's taken some time. It will take some time to get the addition through plan check, and then it'll take some time to actually build the addition. So have you all looked at any temporary solutions to, addressing the unfortunate current situation that we're in, to make the dental office function more efficiently in the present environment?
Of course. I think overall, each person has taken these many months, this whole year, very differently, and I guess they handle their businesses and the decisions they make differently. And it obviously depends on what the business is, but let's say, for example, considering putting temporary tents or anything that's temporary, to be honest, is here today, gone tomorrow. And this addition in the front is something we're looking at obviously as a permanent, because it's very unstable right now. Maybe this thing will go on forever, we don't know. So it was the client's decision, of course, to do something more permanent instead of temporary.
Okay. So, I mean, you explored tent options. Did you explore anything else? And I'm not even sure what those are. Tents came to mind to me, but was there anything else you explored that was you were thinking, oh, we can deal with the present situation now and make our business as sort of as normal as can be during this time, or was the tent idea the only temporary solution?
Yeah, the only way would be to use the back parking lot area. But again, it involves tents, it involves temporary structures, and I believe it's something they've tried, and it was vetoed.
Okay. Did in fact the office try that?
I think so. The tent one, yes. I'm not sure about any other. I'm sure they've tried everything that they were allowed to try.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. That pretty much concludes my questions, aside from one other. Have you looked at the draft conditions of approval that were in the staff report?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And do you have any questions, concerns about them?
No, everything, I read through it and I have no concerns about it.
Okay. All right. And do you have anything else you want to say to support your case?
I think we had a good conversation about it, and we hit all the marks I wanted to talk about. So I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Minji, just make sure we don't have any other callers still, right?
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
have any.
Okay, great. So I'm going to close the public hearing and then take this case under submission. And at this point, the hearing is officially closed. Thank you for your participation, and this is also the end of the planning hearing officer hearing. Thank you.